Hi, my name is Dr. Nate Akpich, and in this 4 and 4 video, I'll be sharing findings from my 2026 article that was done in collaboration with Anthony Gomez and Asta Ardwal. We look at first year and 4-year community college outcomes for youth with experience in California foster care. This is important because the majority of young people in care that go to college will start off in 2-year colleges, and these are highly understudied. California is important because it is the state with the largest community college system. So our study had 4 aims. First, we wanted to look at first year and 4-year outcomes for students with experience in foster care to see how they're doing. Next, we wanted to see how often these students were identified by their college as students who were in foster care. Third, we wanted to compare graduation rates for students with care experience against the general population of community college students. And finally, we wanted to see how often students with care experience were accessing financial aid and campus support programs. All right, so the data for this study, we linked state child welfare records with data from the California Community College Chancellor's Office. We started out with a sample of about 138,000 young people who were known to be in California foster care on their 13th birthday or later, sometime between 2004 and 2016. In terms of the methods that we used, we reported descriptive statistics on what percentage of youth are enrolling in college, persisting in their first year, what's their first year GPA, and then a few other outcomes. And then to compare outcomes against the statewide graduation rate, we drew on data from the Community College Chancellor's Office Data Vista platform. All right, so what do we find? Some of the main findings were these. So of the population of students in foster care, about 40% enrolled in a California community college. And among those who enrolled, about 4 in 10 persisted through their first year in college. Fewer than 5% completed a credential, so either a vocational certificate or an associate's degree after 4 years of when they first started. Average GPA in their first year was about 1.44, and we found that the 4-year graduation rate for students with experience in foster care was about 3 times lower than the general population of community college students. In terms of how often colleges identify students in foster care as being in foster care, started out low when community colleges first started doing this in 2012, and it gradually increased over time to a high of about 60%. About 60% of students were identified as being in foster care. Most students receive financial aid in their first year, over 80%, especially Pell Grants and especially Promise Grants. Only about 1 in 10 received the Chafee ETV. In terms of participation in campus support programs, it was next up is a program that started in 2016 and expanded in later years. Next up, participation grew over time, up to about 21% by 2022. And then we have another roughly 10% of students with care experience who participated in another program called the EOPS. Okay, so what are some takeaways? One takeaway is first year seems to be a critical drop-off point for students with experience in foster care. This is really a time where we need early, intensive supports. Second, improving the identification of students in foster care is important. Hopefully that will continue over time. Identifying them could help link them with important resources on campus. Third, low GPAs and high withdrawal rates may disqualify some youth from financial aid, which have certain requirements. So we need to keep this in mind and structure our policies more flexibly. Fourth, most students with experience in foster care didn't participate in the campus support program. We need to think about ways to better outreach to these students. And finally, we need more research on campus support programs and their impact, especially on long-term academic outcomes and transfers. You can find more information and download a 1-page summary of this article, and also request a full copy of the article on my website, which can be found below.